Meet Bob Minetti.
My wife and I just celebrated 45 memorable years together. She and my daughter Katie are my anchors.
Bob and Wendy spent time fundraising for healthcare causes.
I guess I liked it so much, I decided to become a patient.
In 2016, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
I assumed that there was no hope for people with my diagnosis.
Bob participated in a clinical trial that included cutting-edge radiation therapy and surgery. He's been in remission since completion.
I'm so glad that I learned about what was possible for me.
I'm Keisha Sharp. Since losing my mother to pancreatic cancer, I've been working to ensure that everyone facing this diagnosis knows about the immense progress being made. Stand Up to Cancer and Lustgarten Foundation are working together to make every person diagnosed into a long-term survivor, like Bob. Visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
This is Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. Here's your host, Mark Neuse.
Good morning and welcome to Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. We're going to have an interesting topic on the program today about a program called the Refuge, and its founder, Tom Thompson, is here. The Refuge is described as a faith-based nonprofit addiction recovery organization. Tom, does that kind of sum it up?
That does. Thanks for having me, Mark. I appreciate being here.
Oh, thank you for coming in. Tell me how this all got started.
Yeah, been 23 years as of the 8th of September. We actually just started coming from brokenness myself, so it really is personal, coming out of alcoholic home background. Mm-hmm. So that brokenness led me towards a journey, which was really just trying to figure out, who am I? How do I get help? How do I get healed? And that journey's kind of brought me to the place where I was actually on 270 one day driving in a company I owned at the time. I was going on a sales call. And during that process, I just really had an impression upon me tremendously. It was in a season in the 90s where it was about Promise Keepers at that time. Was a big movement throughout the nation. And I was just impressed to start a place for guys that were struggling like I had been with addictions, and to take them away from the triggers, the hustle bustle, the day-to-day, even the chaos that comes with all of the addiction, and to just give them a place to really work on that spiritual journey, which is, to know that they're loved by God and know that they're accepted by God. And that was it. It was just an epiphany to and I didn't know what to do with it. But that was the beginning of really just my whole, and I tried everything, tried other places to find out here so I wouldn't have to start the Refuge. But that journey led me back to selling my home. I had 4 little kids at the time. My wife, I didn't know what to do, but we sold the home, the business, and moved south, southern Ohio, to begin that journey. So it was pretty radical.
Now, this is a residential recovery program. Tell me how it works.
Yeah, men 18 years and older, first of all, literally they just need to reach out to us, and they start their journey of the beginning of an interview process, filling out an assessment online, and then making a phone call. We can make arrangements for them to come in, and they then come in for 30 days. That first 30 days is totally 24/7 residential to get away from it all, just like I'd mentioned. Mm-hmm. And that's a place where they really just try to come off the chemicals within their body, getting their mind straight, and then just seeking, is this where I want to be? Do I trust the process, the people here, and vice versa? We'll look at them and say, is this a good fit? And then after the 30 days, there's another option where it could be a 1-year process. Mm-hmm. Now, in that 30 days, on the website tells all they need and what they can bring, all the kind of stuff, the detail. But most importantly, it's really relational. This is a relational journey of trusting, get to know myself, get to know those around me, and then, of course, for us, get to know God in a deep way. So it's really why I'm on the planet. So it's pretty intense. No cost, doesn't cost anything, no insurance, nothing of that nature. We've been free ever since we started. Mm-hmm. So that's that 30-day option. So after that 30 days, the 1 year, same thing, no cost. They're there with us another 12 months. And those are phases that we call them, which really that first part of the phase 2, which is that 1 year journey, is really to start getting in touch with my relationship with me, but also we have like family days where you start to restore back to some of your closest people. Hopefully, I've seen so many. We've had thousands, probably 3,000 that have come through in the last 23 years. And I've just loved to watch the children, love to watch the marriages come together, love to just see the restoration God brings through that. So that's a big piece to the journey of a man, which is just to get back and get away from the guilt and shame and some of the things we've done with our relationships to bring the brokenness that we feel. So that's that 4 months. And then they're going back and forth from Lancaster. That's where they'll go. Mm-hmm. And in Lancaster, it's a beautiful 134 acres, just gorgeous, very peaceful, very serene area. So that all kind of contributes to the place where I can get peaceful on the inside if I can kind of be a part of the environment on the outside. So it's just a beautiful place down there. But every other week in that next year journey, they actually come back to Columbus. We're on the west side, which is on Sullivan Avenue in the Hilltop area. Mm-hmm. And that's where they actually come up here to go to work. We have partnering employers in Columbus, and now we're starting to come into that place of dignity, productivity, what are my giftings, but most importantly, work ethic. Just getting to a routine schedule does so much just to get us into the disciplines that we need. So they're doing that every other week, and then eventually that next 8 months, they're actually up here in Columbus full time, doing 40 hours on in that same property. And then they're launching at the end towards an opportunity, which is, we call that the 614 housing project, which is after they're done with their year, they have another opportunity for long-term housing where they can actually do some lease-to-own options we have as they stay together in community. The biggest thing we're finding is the support and the community is vital to just a sense of belonging. I want to be, and then we're with men. We all have been through things together and understand our histories. So then there's a sense that you understand me and I understand you. So that's deep. And why break it up at the end? If they need that, then they have that option to keep doing that. Mm-hmm. And so we have about 50 plus men on the west side of Columbus now that are becoming neighbors to that neighborhood. And so much of what's going on there is amazing, which the guys are volunteering in other nonprofits. So they're serving the community. Mm-hmm. Nothing better than getting out of yourself to really find a bigger purpose. And then all of a sudden, you're kind of high on life. So why do I need to go back to the counterfeit? So just being able to sense that I have purpose, I'm helping others, serving others is just vital to their recovery at the end. So that's long standing. That can be forever.
Before we go any further, why don't you give us your website address where people can get more information and your phone number? Yeah,
therefugeohio.org is the actual website. And then the phone number is 614-991-0131. And
you talked a little bit about when people go online. I noticed I was on your website today. There's a form, sort of a survey that people can fill out.
Yeah, they can do that's the assessment. As well as on give us a call and we can walk you through that as well. We understand not everybody's kind of in their right mind sometimes when they're on the chemicals. So we totally want to make it as easy as possible to get help. I mean, that's our goal. Today, Mark, with just fentanyl and all the things that are out here, it's just destroying the fabric. And it's like we don't have what used to be with alcohol. You had days or weeks that you could make some decisions. This fentanyl and the meth and all the things coming at us, it's minutes. It's like when they need help, they need to call. And we need to get on with the recovery.
And the need is so great right now.
It is. And the key to that is just it's just a place where how can we take that first step? That's the toughest one. And that's the hardest for most that are struggling because we're just locked up in almost like a prison within our mind and our heart. And that addiction just keeps you locked down. And then the guilt and shame and all the fear just keeps you in that place, just not to take that action step. So the first one's the biggest. And so just making that phone call, if nothing else, just to talk to us and then just, we don't bite. So we're here to serve. So we just want to be able to walk you through because we've been there and we've been on that other side. And our heart is just to provide a very, very safe environment. I mean by that non-judgmental, very loving, very kind, and just very much understanding where you are. It's empathetic. So that's what we're looking for, is to connect to the heart to make sure it's as easy as possible to come to that place of saying, I'm willing, I'm ready.
Now, you are a faith-based organization.
Yes.
If there's somebody out there and they're like, I really need help, but gosh, I've never been to inside a church in my life, or
Yes.
I'm not don't count myself right now as being a religious person. Can they still come to you?
Absolutely. No, we're open to anybody. So our heart is that, that they would just come and that's one of those things where, there's all parts of a human. You've got your physical body and physical issues with chemicals and addiction, mental health, mental issues, thoughts and thinking, and then we believe the spiritual side. So that's definitely a big piece to what we see that brings completion, whether it's in AA and all these different helpful places. There's a spiritual component, and so we totally believe that. So,
where does your funding come from? Because this obviously is an expensive proposition.
yeah, we began with just donations. We are a 501c3, so we're strictly publicly funded, donation based, and that was through a lot of churches, organizations, individuals, corporations, and of course corporate foundations. We have some private funding there that we get from time to time. And then the other thing is the men themselves. This is what's pretty cool. They actually, as they're learning, coming back into a rhythm of a routine of a work week, then that resource that they're going out comes back to help pay for themselves. So it's dignity based. It's not, you would not, Mark, just imagine the gifts, talents, and abilities these men have for where they've come from and even to survive out here. It's amazing what I've seen in terms of just the beautiful gifts these men have. So my point is, when they start to tap back into that through the workplace, they really start to grow. And of course, that then becomes, they start to feel proud and have some dignity again, who they are.
Yeah.
And then from there, they can then even help to pay for themselves, and they're not just, it's not a handout, it's a hand up. So the dignity starts to come. And they contribute about 50%, 55% of the resources that keeps everything going. So they're a big part of it. And what that also means for accountability is if the accountability is not there for them to say, I don't agree with this, don't want to be here anymore. We're depending on them then, the funds, so the accountability is built in.
Yeah.
We have got to very much care for them and provide value and take care of them for them to even be there. So that actually brings it back on us to make sure we're caring for them very well.
On the program with us today is Tom Thompson. He is the founder of the Refuge, and I'm going to ask you several times during the program again to give us your website address and phone number for those who are maybe just joining us.
Oh, sure. Yeah, therefugeohio.org is the website, and then you can reach us by calling 614-991-0131.
I imagine a lot of these men have families, and of course addiction not only touches the person who's addicted, but their entire family as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's no doubt about it. It's a very communal problem, so it touches everybody, starting with the family on out. The beauty in that is, that's what I said, like the restoration process is very, some of the children that we have never seen even their fathers sober-minded since they've been born. So it's incredible to see that they have a brand new dad almost, and to see all that come to pass has been just beautiful.
First of all, have you ever taken a look and measured your success rate?
Yeah, we've been asked that through the years, and finally we had a third party look over numbers. And what we did was we contacted men that were alumni that's left the Refuge for at least 3 years out, and so they got a hold of them. They took a survey, and we had a wide number sampling that's necessary to really get good numbers. So they did that and brought the numbers back. And so after all these years, we did get some of these numbers back. The biggest one, of course, everybody's wondering is, what's your success rate on sobriety?
Yeah.
Out of that, 66% of the men had never touched anything in the time since they had left the Refuge from 3 years on, after the Refuge. So that was an incredible statistic for us. And out of that 66%, the ones that had at least gone out once, 30 plus, actually literally had only done it one time, and they were already back. So the 66 had never touched any substance since they had left the Refuge. So that was powerful.
That is a very big number.
Yeah, the other numbers were pretty incredible, were in at least 90s and above. Some of those were food secure, meaning they had never gone without food. Work, literally full-time employment was about 96%. So all of them had jobs, hadn't touched the criminal system since they had left. About 92% of those that had never been back in the judicial system. And if you can imagine all the savings that gives the community and just what we're talking about here is major money and helping with that. And also medical, whenever they're going to the emergency rooms and all that. There hadn't been any of those drug-related in the high 90s in that as well. So we were very amazed at what God had done through all those statistics. And we also measured another thing called the spiritual aspect, which for us is the relational. Those were high 90s in regards to all the restoration that you're talking about with families, and are they trusted? Are they allowed to, come around kids? All that was like incredibly off the chart with the relationships that have been restored.
Do you have an average age of the men who come to you?
It varies. I think early on when we started, it was more on an alcohol issue. So they were a little older in age coming to us. Since the heroin came in years ago, that took it down to the 20s. Young kids, even coming out of high school, were getting on heroin. So right now it's right around the 30, 35 is about the median average age. And we go anywhere. We've had guys in 60s up, and then we've had them, 18, of course, is the youngest. So it's wide variety. And the beauty of that is in that culture is that you've got the older grandfatherly type with the younger, almost grandson type, that you have the beautiful blend of the different ages and experiences that you really help each other through a family kind of environment. It's pretty neat to see how all that can take place.
So the ones who have been in the program a little bit longer sort of mentor the new ones.
Exactly, and age-wise, the ones that are older by age, they may be there before him, but yet they've had more life experience. So it's been really neat to watch how relationships is what we're all about in terms of just why we're even on this planet, is to connect,
Yeah, and talk about the people who actually help these men with their recovery process.
Yeah, the one of the things we found was the men, as they've come through the process themselves and they start to truly find themselves, find out what their purpose is, they're always giving back. So they're looking at the guys behind them, and always giving back to them. Was as they came through, we didn't have much funding at the very beginning. I had to take the men I had, and they had to be the ones that felt like they were supposed to stay, or they felt just that sense in their heart that, hey, I want to stick around and be a part of. So we started just from within raising up leadership. And so as that went on, we actually have what we call coordinators now, which is about 2 to 3 men per phase. That gives us about 12 men average that can stay after they've completed to give back. So that's a big part of the men serving day to day. Also, we have volunteers externally that actually come down for an hour a week, and we have small groups. So the men break out, and then they have some other men around them that come in. We call them coaches. So it might be 2 coaches per every 3 to 4 men, and they have a small group each week. Neat part about that is these men, of course, typically have responsibilities. They're out here now to deal with the paychecks and their budgets and how to have relationships and long-term marriages. And so the men need to glean from that success, meaning I know how to be a responsible man out here in society. So they come in once a week to just kind of answer questions, be a part of, and really just start to build that trust in relationships. So those volunteers are amazing. Director level, we've got men, of course, that are there full-time. But our staff's pretty lean and mean. It's we average anywhere from 11 to 15 actual staff, so it's pretty incredible.
Well, and I find it interesting that as you talk about that it isn't just getting people off drugs, getting people off alcohol. It's the life skills after that.
Yes, that's everything. I mean, frankly, the drugs and alcohol, there's something typically that keeps us bound in that. Not just the physiology of it with the alcohol, et cetera, but there's something of pain maybe, or maybe I just started curiosity at college and then maybe I got into a back injury, et cetera. I've seen all kinds that gets us hooked.
Yeah.
But really, when it comes down to it, there's something deeper, a root of it. And most of that, we believe, is broken relationship, whether it's with myself, with God, with others, with the world. Somewhere I'm broken in that, and I numb out by leaning into these addictions.
I noticed on the website you had a portion that said vision for the future. So what is your vision for the future of the Refuge?
Yeah, our heart now is we've had several people over time say, hey, how can we start this kind of place where we're at in our cities?
Sure.
So we've had a few that's come alongside, but in the last 3 years, 5 men in particular I've been working with on a monthly basis as a group and then individually as well. So we're planting what looks like Refuge. It's not franchising. It's just I'm here to serve them, come alongside them, and help them any way we can with the process we have, with anything we've done to form it, with whatever I can personally. So we've got a place up in Akron, Toledo, Newark, Mount Vernon, and Dayton. These are 5 men that are feeling like they want to do the same, and they're already in process, and some have already started. So we're just coming together and locking arms, and then we do a summit once a year. We try to bring all these faith-based places together that are long-term residential and glean from what each of us are doing. We can learn so much from each other if we all just come together and literally just learn and ask questions and be a part of. And literally we're doing that. We just had our last summit just last month, so we've been doing that once a year as well.
I know that there's such a need right now, but there's really very few places doing what you're doing. Is there a waiting list or anything, or can men get right in?
At this moment, we have beds available. I think right now we're in a place where it's interesting as the sun's out and it's more warmer. It lends itself to men just saying, I can deal with this outside. But when things get a little colder, it seems like beds start to fill. So for right now, we have beds available. So if guys are willing today, we'd love to serve them. So.
Again, it's called The Refuge, and the founder, Tom Thompson, is here with us today. It is a faith-based, nonprofit addiction recovery organization. Again, Tom, if you don't mind, the website and phone number.
Yeah, therefugeohio.org. And then the phone number is 614-991-0131.
I notice you have something called the 7 Principles of the Refuge. Could you tell us about that?
Sure. It's been years ago that we looked at it and said, what's going to hold us together? How do we evaluate progress with the men moving through the ministry? So our heart was to come up with what is our values. So that's what those are. So when you're looking at those principles, so it's the first one is commitment to God. That's what we believe that is the spiritual component that you need is something bigger than yourself to lean into for hope. And then the second one's a relationship with others. So how do we get along with ourselves and others? And so those are our 2 that we really glean into and really hold as the highest value. And then just teachable. Am I teachable? Some of it is courage. Am I willing to step out into my giftings and go forward and such? And then work ethic, stewardship's another one. Honesty, authenticity is another one. So these are the real foundation, the blocks, that if you're moving through the process, even the men themselves, as they go from the 4 phases, they actually come together and speak into these within each other to see if you're moving forward or if there's some things you need to shore up. So we use these to keep our culture very healthy and very much on a growth pattern for the men to continue to become responsible men. So it's just the bedrock of who we are and what we need to focus on intentionally. We're very intentional. 4 things came to the surface in the last year. We had a gentleman that's a psychologist, development psychologist, corporate actually. He went overseas and tried to bring culture from different places. Well, he came to the Refuge and he said, can I volunteer? I'm like, oh my goodness, yes. Because he said, what makes it work? I said, well, all the spiritual. He said, no, I mean, give me some practical. I said, I really don't know. I've been here too long and you just become like wallpaper. You're just been here too long.
Too deep into it.
Yes. So he said, let me come in and see, and this is what I do. And so he came in and literally came out with 4 factors, four key things. Number 1 was unconditional love is here. So that was what even I had felt like God had spoke to me back in 2:7. So it's like, here it is 20 years later. And that was the first one. Secondly was safety. People felt very, very much non-judged. They felt very accepted, very belonging there. Everybody's in the same boat. And then the third one, he said, Tom, there's just this thing called God's at work. These guys just experience things they're not used to when it comes to court cases or restoring wives that they thought they'd never see, and just things like that. And then the fourth one was a very intentional process of like they're moving towards growth. They know what's coming. They know what's next. And because of that, they can have hope that keeps them there. So that's kind of our culture, and those are our principles. And you put those together, and that kind of is the secret sauce inside the program, where that's what really brings the guys to a place where they're growing.
Tom Thompson is here, the founder of the Refuge. You talked a little bit about recovery housing and how you do that. You also have something called alumni opportunities. Tell me about what is that?
Yeah, some of the alumni opportunities is they actually come back and they can then share and they can be a part of. Even this evening on a Monday night, I've got an alumni actually leading one of the groups back in one of the phases that are in Columbus that I'm going to actually meet with him and be together with him. So it's just volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. It's opportunities for the men to keep giving, keep sharing, and keep pulling others forward. And as we all do that, and we reach back, we of course go up ourselves. So it keeps them focused, it keeps their own recovery and process, and it keeps them out of just self-centeredness, that's a real key problem if we're just wrapped up in it's all about me. So selflessness is one of the keys to staying sober. So I've got to look back and find somebody else and serve them, and keeps the integrity there. I can't say what I'm not doing, so it keeps all that in play for them. So volunteering, serving, some of them take a day off work even to come down to Lancaster and spend a whole day with the guys. I mean, these guys are continuously doing that. And then, like I said, on the west side, all the opportunities there, that it's a bigger picture than just me. It's like now we can reach an area of our city and become a servant to those that where I was even in the lifestyle I had. And I can speak directly into that and bring hope to it because now I'm not in it. So it gives these guys some major influence right there in the Hilltop area.
Today on Columbus Concerns, we've been talking about the Refuge, a faith-based nonprofit addiction recovery organization for men. And Tom Thompson is here. He is the founder of the Refuge. Finally, on the program today, just one more time, give us that website address and the phone number if anybody's interested in contacting you.
Sure, therefugeohio.org. And then the phone number is 614-991-0131.
That's a pretty quick half hour, I tell you. That's I had about 20 more questions, but maybe you can come back again sometime.
There you go. I'd love it.
And we can talk about the Refuge some more. But, Tom, thanks very much for coming
Thanks,
by. We
Mark.
really appreciate it.
Okay.
And we would like to thank all of you for joining us today, and we'll talk to you again next week on another edition of Columbus Concerns.
Thanks for listening to Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. You can send questions or comments about today's show to Columbus Concerns in care of this station, 1458 Dublin Road, Columbus 43215. Or email us at columbusconcerns@napcomedia.com.
I'm Tiffany Haddish.
And I'm Marlon Wayans. African Americans are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer than any other racial or ethnic group.
When you or someone you love is facing a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, access to cutting-edge treatment can help make long-term survival possible and improve future patient outcomes.
That's why Stand Up to Cancer and the Lustgarten Foundation have teamed up to bring over 30 pancreatic cancer clinical trials to those who need them.
Learning all you can about pancreatic cancer, including treatment options and what clinical trials are available, can give you or a loved one even more than hope. It can help make long-term survival possible.
For more information about the latest pancreatic cancer research and clinical trials near you, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Keisha Sharp. Since losing my mother to pancreatic cancer, I've been working to share the kind of state-of-the-art work being done by Stand Up to Cancer and Lustgarten Foundation. To learn more about the latest research, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
What would you give for a child you loved? to make their wish come true, to help them fight a critical illness. Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.